Miss Carey. I was wondering if you had read Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, and if so,
I've read some of them. You know, he was writing those, and I discovered that I was forgetting a lot, so I stopped reading them and to wait until he finished. And of course, he unfortunately passed away before he finished. Brandon Sanderson is finished, but I haven't caught up with the. I think I've read about 4 of the books, and I'm about 8 behind.
did you read enough to have a favorite character in that series?
A favorite character. Well, he had the 3 main kids who were one, and I think I liked the one who was Perrin. I think was
Okay.
yeah the of the 3 main guys, the one I liked the most.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Rand did have 3 women, which was probably a good thing, I guess. For Rand, anyway. Not necessarily for the 3 women. Yes?
I'd like to make a brief observation and then a question, if it's okay.
Observe away.
Okay. I'd just like to mention, if I guessed correctly, you're just a few years older than I am. Since I was in high school, I've been wearing this hat or my wool version of it. I've often been wearing a vest with a shirt, or I have a shawl collared sweater. I used to be unique. Now, I'm your cosplayer. Thank you, sir, for taking my individuality. But the question is, there's Faceless Men, and then you've got the White Walkers, or the others in your books. I've noticed that there's energy moving around the world. Is there any inference to be made from that, or is it just kind of a coincidence?
Well, you have to keep reading. And I'll give these things away in question and answer sessions.
I don't think so, but yeah, you give me a little wit. Thanks.
Hey, George, I'm Brian.
Hey.
I wanted to ask, you seem to be such a big sports fan, at least when it comes to football.
Football, yeah.
And
baseball to some extent.
And sports fiction, I mean, like, sports fiction can often be lacking. I was wondering, have you ever thought about, not just with sports fiction, but kind of treading beyond the sort of science fiction, fantasy realm, and writing either a short story or a novel, and something that somebody really would never expect you to write in that sort of area?
Well, I wrote some science fiction football stories early in my career. I wrote, a story called Run to Starlight, based on the famous Vince Lombardi Run to Daylight thing, about an alien football team on Earth. And I wrote a story about computer sports when it was just in its infancy, called the Last Super Bowl, which, by the way, was supposed to be played last year. So my projection was wrong. That story I sold to Gallery Magazine, which I don't know if they exist. Does Gallery Magazine still exist? It was a Playboy imitation.
I don't think it's still around. No, sir.
So it's the only story of mine that was printed with, like, naked women on the other side of the pages there. The Girl Next Door Gallery had this. So the last Super Bowl, it was played between the Green Bay Packers and the Hoboken Jets. Jets having been run out of New York City then because computer sports had replaced real sports. But that prediction turned out to be wrong.
Thank you for your time. My name's Carlton. My question, to try to avoid the question that you don't like about your favorite character or otherwise, obviously, most of us, we really love Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. Great series, thank you. What in all of your writing would you say is your favorite story that you have written?
Well, early in my career, I wrote a lot of short stories. And there are still some people who think my short stories are my best work, but I'd like to write more short stories, and eventually, if I live long enough, I hope to. But I've written some short stories that I'm very pleased with, going all the way back to my first Hugo winner, A Song for Laia, and then relatively more recent things like Portraits of His Children, which won the Nebula, and This Tower of Ashes, The Ice Dragon, which has been published separately as a children's book. I know a number of you had me sign it, but it was originally just a short story. That's some of my best work, I think.
All through the 80s, I read Omni, religiously, and all the other science fiction magazines.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the Pear-Shaped Man always stuck in my head out of everything I read through the 80s. So there's a lasting power to some of the short stories.
Well, thank you. Short stories were the center of science fiction. They're still important.
Yeah.
They're still important. They're not as important as they were. They don't dominate the way they did in certainly the 40s or the 50s, but or even the 70s and 80s when I was breaking in. But they're still the way that a lot of new writers make their bones, get their names out there, establish. By the way, I don't know. I know there are a number of people here at their first convention. Others may be, familiar with fandom and its ways, but hopefully those of you at the first convention have enjoyed yourself, and you'll be coming back not only to Mysticon, but to other conventions, and especially to the World Science Fiction Convention, which is held every year in summer. It always moves to a different city. This year it is in Kansas City, Missouri, Mid-Americon 2. The first Mid-Americon was in 1976. I lost 2 Yugos that year and founded the Yugo Losers Club and party. But 1976 Mid-Americon was the best and most innovative Worldcon of all those I've ever attended, and I've been going since 1971. So I'm hopeful that this year's in Kansas City will also be great. So those of you who are so inclined, I advise you to sign up for Mid-Americon. You can find it online. You can sign up if you can get to Kansas City. Attend by all means. It's a wonderful experience. I'll be there, but there will also be like 200 others of your favorite writers, editors, artists. The art show is always incredible. Masquerade is usually very nice. There are parties all over the place.
Worldcons are amazing.
There's a great dealer's room, and you get to vote and nominate for the Yugo Awards, which is a fan award. And nominations are in progress right now and will remain in until the end of March. And we need more people nominating their favorite books and artists and magazines and short fiction for the Yugo Awards. More voices being heard to get a true reflection of what's going on in the field. So this is a good time to do it, and the price just keeps going up, by the way. And even if you can't come to Kansas City, for $40, I think you can join as a supporting member, which still gets you the ability to vote and nominate for the Yugo Awards and get you all the publications as well. Yes?
Hi, my name's Jerry. I'm a gamer by trade. And I was wondering, one of the things that you've done, you've had several video games come out, the Telltale series of Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones Genesis, the strategy game. You've had tabletop role-playing games. You've had card games. What's it like from a technical or from the writer's perspective of creating for these kind of properties? Is it how different is it? How alike is it? And how much do you enjoy it compared to just actually writing books?
Well, I don't actually get involved in creating the games. I recognize the synchronicity. I'm a book writer, and it helps me to have these products out there. I know many people have come to read my books through the television show, but there's also a certain number who have come to me from the game. They've played the Fantasy Flight card game or board game, or they played the Telltale game, or the Cyanide video game that preceded it, and they've gotten interested in the world and they've bought my books. But I have a hard enough time just getting the books done. I don't have time to start inventing the games too. So my role in the games is sometimes I have a role, particularly in selecting the art, because I'm fussy about wanting the best fantasy art, and so I name artists that I want to work with and all that. But I don't get involved in inventing any of the game rules or the scenarios. As sometimes some of the game companies will have me involved as on the approval basis. They'll send me what they've come up with, and I can approve or disapprove or give notes. But for the most part, I let them handle that rather than get into it myself.
Do you still have a gaming group in New Mexico?
Yeah, we do, but it's not very active these days. A couple people moved away, and I don't know, we just don't seem to play much anymore. The last game we really played regularly was the one that ultimately became the Expanse TV series.
Oh, wow.
And Ty Frank was running that for us. And when he and Daniel decided they would make that a series of books and then a TV show, I stopped running the game, which was a pity because I was really enjoying that game.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I write stuff too, but I'm going to preface my question with, I have the crazy fan theory that the end of the entire Song of Ice and Fire is going to be Daenerys and Sansa in a lesbian relationship because you have ice and fire. I was wondering if you actually, do you look at any fan theories or fan fiction and ever read it and go, what is this person smoking, and can I have some?
I don't. For one thing, because there are potential legal troubles with that. You know, I think like many writers, I was chastened by the experience of Marion Zimmer Bradley had like 20 years ago, where she was very encouraging to people writing fan fiction about Darkover. And then she was writing a book, and someone sent her some fan fiction that had a similar plot, and she had to stop writing the book because the fan was threatening to sue her for stealing her plot, you know, even though, how can you steal your, you know, that's the danger you get in fan fiction. So it's better that I don't read any fan. I know it's out there, but I don't want to know about it. What you do to amuse yourself is good, but let's not bring it to my attention. So it's, but people do write me letters sometimes about the theories, and then I do wonder what they're smoking. Unless they're from Colorado, then I know what they're smoking.
That is actually 6 o'clock. That is our hour. Do you have a question that can be answered in one word?
Yeah, well, actually, Hi, I wanted to ask you earlier when I talked to you about the Game of Thrones clue, and I know you just mentioned the gaming. I was actually involved, and I starred in the Game of Thrones parody on April Fool's Day for ThinkGeek.com. And we had produced a Game of Thrones full clue board with characters like Arya and Tyrion. It was supposed to be for 58 players, and it was supposed to take hours to complete, agonizing and painful. And in the end, you know, when we revealed the final clue, you know, had been the suspect with the IBM 285 in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And the video was pulled about, I think, a few hours in by HBO because we didn't have contractual agreements with each of the actors. But I was going to ask you if you actually had seen that because I was curious.
I'm afraid not.
Oh, okay. Well, I do have it if you want to watch it.
I don't use an IBM.
Oh, well, not anymore. That's funny. But the video, I mean, it's very humorous, and it was very professional. But thank you for answering that.
Well, send it to me. Send me a link or something to my home computer, and I'll look at it.
I'll send it to you.
Great. Cool.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.